Tracanore.
The Girl Who Hated Birthdays, a Just Deborah adventure by Fiona Crompton. Deborah woke early as usual and jumped out of bed, yawning and tripping on a discarded copy of The Private Eye on the bathroom floor. She splashed water on her face, donned her favourite jacket, then tumbled downstairs and straight out of the door. As she passed a kindly neighbour's bay window, she noticed the dining room curtains were drawn and strange bustling noises were coming from inside. Momentarily perplexed, Deborah cheerfully bowled into the co-op to pick up her morning paper and daily order of cheese, calf's liver and a bottle of vino tinto, enjoying the delicious wafts of village baking on the way. Having finished breakfast and the crossword, 3 across, processing centre needs a needle and thread for old plant, 6-5. Oh yes, sewage works. She decided to head out in good time just in case anything unfortunately birthday-ish might interrupt her joy. She had to admit this was pretty unlikely, considering her strenuous efforts that she had made to keep her birthday a secret, even from her gang, the Outlaws. It was turning into a warm day, perfect for a walk across the water meadows or down to the river with the Outlaws, so she crossed the street to knock at Henry's door, only to find he was far too busy with his head in a book to come outside. She strolled up the village green to find Ginger and Douglas, only to be told they were on holiday in Devon. In which case, Deborah declared happily, I'll jolly well go to the allotment and have an adventure of my own. Wandering back through the village, examining a beetle she had found in her pocket, she saw in the distance the church flower lady. The church flower lady had very fixed opinions on many subjects, chief amongst them the pressing need for all to deadhead flowers to prolong their flowering period and beautify the village. She often impressed on Deborah, and anyone else who stopped to listen, the importance of this being done regularly and thoroughly, and looked to be on the prowl, inspecting flowering planters as she went. Now, Deborah felt that this was an unnecessary use of anyone's spare time, especially on a sunny day, but having been persuaded into volunteering to help, she felt morally bound to do her duty. And yet, the allure of the allotment called, just a few minutes' walk away. Deborah pressed herself into a bush just in time to see the church flower lady's horrified look as she stared at the patently untended planters in front of her.
How I'm expected to get all this done today, I really don't know,
she exclaimed unhappily before striding off to her large motor vehicle. At that moment, Deborah's attention was reluctantly drawn to the approaching figure of Violet Elizabeth Bott, skipping up the pavement.
Hello, Debbie,
she gleefully shrieked.
Oh, can I come and play hide and seek with you?
Much as Deborah's heart sank at the sight of Violet, a plan started to form in her mind, and she turned on her most winning smile. Oh, hello, Violet. I'm not playing at anything, actually. I'm busy making my fortune, but you can keep me company while I'm doing it if you like, she casually replied. Violet squealed with excitement and breathlessly demanded to know more. Deborah explained that she had been commissioned by the church flower lady to deadhead all the planters and would be handsomely paid for every bloom plucked off.
Let me, Debbie, or I'll scream and scream until I'm sick,
shrilled Violet, a look of thunder gathering in her eyes when Deborah appeared briefly reluctant to share her great fortune. Deborah seemed swayed by the awful child's persistence. "Very well, Violet, but you're sworn to complete secrecy on pain of death." Deborah frowned seriously. "Don't call me Debbie." Now, who should turn out of the old school whistling a ghastly tune and confront them but Hubert Lane, Deborah's arch enemy and leader of the parish pests gang.
Whatever are you doing, skulking in that bush, Deborah?
Hubert asked, smirking and idly squashing ants with his boot. "None of your business, Herbert, and you wouldn't be interested anyway, so I'd just push off if I were you," Deborah calmly replied. Herbert's attention was immediately piqued, and he came right up to Deborah.
I can stand wherever I please. My mum's a local councillor.
Herbert insisted oilily. She turned away from him and appeared to silently count the flower heads on the planter nearest to her. "Well, just don't get in my way or interrupt me then," Deborah murmured, concentrating hard on her tally, employing fingers and thumbs in a complicated manner. Herbert watched Deborah's engrossed survey suspiciously for a few moments.
What are you doing messing about with those plants?
He demanded.
She's not messing about. She's counting the fortune she's going to make for deadheading flowers.
304, 305, 300, Deborah muttered under her breath. "Oh, sorry, Herbert, I didn't realise you were still here," she innocently concluded. Needless to say, there were no flower heads left, dead or alive, on any plant within the outer limits of the village by the end of the day, despite Deborah having enjoyed an excellent afternoon at the allotment, planting garlic, digging up potatoes, drinking tea, and dreamily gazing into the river. To Deborah's delight, the church flower lady had a very strong word with Violet and Hubert's parents, and they had been sent up to bed without any supper. As Deborah meandered home, tired, dishevelled, but happy, a cold panic began to overwhelm her as she looked back on the odd circumstances from that morning. The drawn dining room curtains, the surreptitious goings-on, everyone being out, the delicious smells of cooking. What if her kindly neighbours had been planning a birthday surprise for her and were ready to pounce on her return? The ghastly truth lay suddenly clear before her, her despairing steps slowing to a stop. "But I don't want a dinner or a party. I hate cake and I absolutely refuse to wear a dress," she cried defiantly. Happily, the kindly neighbours had simply dusted off a large bottle of old growler, opened a catering pack of crisps, and were sitting in the garden discussing which seeds to order and whether it was too late for toads in the garden this year. The end.
Jack and Nori.